My character, the therapist, who is consulting with a couple who are having marital issues, but she herself is also a victim or survivor, rather, of gender based violence. So she goes through the experience of counseling them, but then goes sort of above and beyond what she should do, where she's not just the therapist, but she's in a way the helper. I don't want to call her a savior because I don't think she's not. But I also think that it's important for everybody to help. It shouldn't just be those who have experienced, whether it's some sort of trauma, who help. I've never experienced gender-based violence, but I advocate against it. I think it's very important for men to actually speak up about it. Because if we have support from men, I won't say it makes it easier, but it helps. It helps because then they're speaking out against it. And then that way, other men who possibly are abusers or maybe thinking of doing that, if as a brother you call your brother out, he's more likely to listen to you. And if you as a man say this is wrong, then other men are also going to learn from it and say this is wrong. So it shouldn't just be women, whether you're a survivor or not. It shouldn't just be the women that are speaking out about it. And to be fair, there are also men who have experienced, violence at home.
There are currently only 1,700 and something therapists serving the whole of Nigeria. And as an African seeking help, therapy is a taboo. So we need to continue to shed light on it. We need to continue to, to really knock that door until everyone knows that asking for help doesn't mean you're weak. It actually means you're strong and proactive. And so that to me is why I think this message needs to be told. But then it's not a Nigerian story, it's a global story. And I wanted to ensure that it is not just shown in Nigeria. For example, we just came back from London. It was shown in Film Africa Festival. We did press with BFI. We did, I think as we speak, Lagos Fringe. We did Afrith. It's going to be in Barbados in January and so many more. And for me, it's something that needs to be told. We need to shed light on the subject. And so for as many people that can see it as possible, the better. And so that's why I wanted to ensure that was the case.
Most of the time when people hear domestic violence, they just think that, okay, there's only one party that, is guilty of that. But at the end of the day, the truth is humans are human and people are naturally wicked. You understand? So, and a lot of people treat it like it's taboo to have this conversation. And the things that are hidden are the things that continue to fester. The evils that you hide are the ones that continue to grow. So once you shine light on stuff, it's more difficult for it to continue to be a thing. It's easier to control it. It's easier to stop it. It's easier to, legislate against it. And I feel like the more we talk about, gender-based violence and domestic violence, the easier it will be for the people who put the rules in place to stop these things. It will be easier for them to actually, sit up and do something about it. Because a lot of people get away with a lot of nonsense. And if there are no laws, you cannot break them, So I just feel like if you teach boys that there are consequences to these actions, it will be easier to hold them accountable when they do, do these things. So yes, as the father of a male child, it is important to my wife and I that we raise Kion in a way that makes it easy for him to understand consequences. I mean, he's only 4, but he needs to understand that there are consequences for everything and that you cannot just get away with stuff because you are male.
I played the character Rita Daniels in Toll-Free, and I would say this character is really special to me because of what she represents and what she stands for, and even the subject matter of this film. Addressing domestic abuse that can come in the form of, it can come psychological and physical and emotional. It's just, there's so many layers to it. And most of the times you see people that go through domestic abuse and they don't look like what they've been through, or they don't look like what they're going through. And this movie, Toll-Free, addresses that subject matter and shines a light to something as sensitive as this. And Rita Daniels is in the core center of all of this, and she's like a proper representation of the storyline, and it helps you see that it's not about what was done wrong or what was done right. People always, when you hear a woman is abused, they say, so what did you do to your husband? So what happened? At times you can do everything that the world would think is right, and then abuse will still occur. Right? So I don't think, there was a thing that could have happened. That's why this film is so beautiful, because it tells you that, and it showcases the fact that anything can happen. Anyone can be a victim. Even a marriage that lasts a very long time, suddenly can have abuse in it.
Rape is essentially non-consent, having sexual intercourse without the consent of the other person, or having sexual intercourse with a minor. That's anybody who is under the age of 18. Yes, so you according to law, you can actually do. The law doesn't say husband and wife, and stuff like that. It just says if you have sexual intercourse with somebody without the person's consent who is an adult, it's rape. If you have sexual intercourse with somebody below the age of 18, it's rape, and they carry different sentences. There's no one fixed environment for gender-based violence. It can occur in the home, it can occur in the office, it can occur in school, in the marketplace, in neighborhoods. So there's no particular fixed environment for gender-based violence. But what is important is for particularly the young people and people who seem to have the upper hand to be able to, control themselves, hold back as much as you can so that you don't get into situations where you create bigger problems than you are trying to address, So, because gender-based violence, it's an offense, at least in Lagos State, it's an offense, and maybe several other states in Nigeria. It's an offense. Yeah, that I know. Well, no, it's a state crime, but the law on gender-based violence is a specific law on gender-based violence, different from disturbing the public and all the kind of thing that the police get into, So it's a very serious, and for a state like Lagos, they really take it seriously when they have issues.
So what we see with our eyes, or we feed our eyes as we process every day in life, is part of the details people don't talk about, the traumas of the past. What did you experience as a child as normal? Was it your father and mother who was a troublesome one? What is normal? So you see, from that, you can now take roots to pursuing why it has led to violence. Everybody can be violent, but it's normal to them that do it, and they don't know what takes over them, and then they come back, and it's a cycle that they saw growing up, and the mothers stayed, right? So, and in some cases, the father will go back and beg, and do it and beg, and it's normal, but the mother stayed, so it's normal. Even the girls allow it, so their moms allow it too. So to them, that is love, even though it's in pain. So it's a very intricate and delicate subject that it's not enough to talk about on the surface. Root cause is always a place to start if you in seeking solution to a problem. And if you don't understand the root cause, then you're doomed. Like the people who don't understand their history have no identity. And no matter how successful the person might look, deep down, mentally, they don't feel like anywhere they can call home. So it's deeper than just the surface of violence and the reactions and what caused it. No, the thing that makes it easy to do has a root cause that has to be addressed through therapy.
The most important thing is get help. We need help. Everybody needs help. Everybody needs to check mentally. In America, mental health therapy is seen as a daily activity. People live their life going for mental therapy. Here in Africa, people see especially in Lagos, people are going through a lot. Trust me, you need help. Get help. Get a therapist. Go for mental, psychological well-being so you can get yourself checked out. You need to get the help. That's what I'm going to say.
Mr. Daniels?
We just scored 5/20. I would hardly call that minor.